Imagine sitting on a gold mine worth $31 trillion but being unable to buy a simple loaf of bread for your family. This is the tragic and complex reality of the Islamic Republic of Iran. On paper, Iran is an absolute energy titan, holding the world's second-largest natural gas reserves and the fourth-largest proven oil reserves. In a logical world, this should make Iran one of the wealthiest and most influential nations on the planet, perhaps even rivaling the economic giants of the West. But as we analyze the petroleum of economics, we see a superpower of energy that has been transformed into a global economic cautionary tale. To understand how $31 trillion in resources resulted in a crumbling economy, we have to look back at the historical and geopolitical shifts that changed everything. Since the 1979 revolution, Iran has faced a series of escalating sanctions that have systematically severed its ties with the global financial grid. When a nation is barred from using the US dollar and the SWIFT banking system, its most valuable asset, oil, becomes almost impossible to trade at its true market value. It is like having a warehouse full of luxury goods but no road to transport them to the market. Consequently, Iran has been forced into the shadows of the global economy, relying on a clandestine network known as the Ghost Fleet. These are aging tankers that turn off their tracking transponders to move Iranian oil across the oceans in secret. However, this survival tactic comes with a massive financial penalty. To entice buyers to take the risk of purchasing sanctioned oil, Iran must offer staggering discounts, often selling its crude for $10 to $20 less per barrel than the international Brent price. This invisible sanction tax drains tens of billions of dollars from the national treasury every single year, money that should have gone into schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. But the crisis goes much deeper than just the difficulty of selling oil. It is also about the physical decay of the industry itself. Oil and gas extraction is a high-tech business that requires constant maintenance and cutting-edge Western technology. Because of the embargoes, Iran's refineries and drilling platforms are aging rapidly. They lack the specialized parts and the engineering expertise required to maintain peak production levels, leading to a steady decline in the efficiency of their energy sector. While the oil stays trapped or undervalued, the Iranian Rial has suffered a catastrophic collapse, losing over 90% of its value against the dollar in the last decade alone. This hyperinflation has wiped out the life savings of millions, with the cost of basic goods skyrocketing by 50% or more annually. The government attempted to cushion the blow by heavily subsidizing fuel, making petrol in Iran some of the cheapest in the world. However, this backfired by encouraging massive fuel smuggling and creating a huge deficit in the national budget. Instead of the oil wealth funding the people, the government is now spending its dwindling reserves just to keep the lights on and the cars running. This is the ultimate manifestation of the resource curse, a phenomenon where a country with an abundance of natural resources tends to have less economic growth and worse development outcomes than countries with fewer natural resources. For Iran, the $31 trillion buried beneath its soil represents a locked treasure chest. The keys to this chest are held by international diplomacy and domestic policy shifts that currently seem out of reach. If the geopolitical landscape changed and sanctions were lifted, Iran's re-entry into the global market would be a seismic event, potentially crashing global oil prices and transforming the Middle Eastern economy overnight. But for now, the gap between Iran's potential wealth and its economic reality continues to widen. It serves as a stark reminder that in the modern world, natural resources are only as valuable as your ability to trade them. Without global trust and financial integration, even $31 trillion can't save an economy from sliding into the abyss. This deep dive into the petroleum of economics shows us that while oil can build empires, the lack of a stable financial bridge to the rest of the world can turn that same oil into a burden rather than a blessing. Thank you for watching. and make sure to subscribe for more in-depth analysis of how energy shapes the wealth of nations.